Alright, what's up everyone? Welcome to the Surfside PPC YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be going over 12 Pinterest advertising strategies, so some different tips, strategies that you can use for your campaigns. So before we get into it, the one thing I want to show you is we have a Pinterest advertising and Pinterest marketing playlist on our channel, so I'd highly recommend checking that out. We did a Pinterest ads tutorial for 2019. We did a marketing tutorial, so basically how to grow your profiles organically, which is really where our focus has been for most of this year. We've ran a lot of Pinterest ads in the past, but for right now, we're just trying to grow organically and not running as many Pinterest ads as we did in the past. But for this tutorial, I want to go over Pinterest advertising, some of the different strategies you can use to really get the most out of your budget. So the first thing is to make sure you test every type of campaign that is relevant for your business. So one of the new campaign types is shopping campaigns. Now we don't own an actual e-commerce website, but one of the things I'd like to do later on this year is to run shopping campaigns because they're becoming so prevalent in all these different advertising channels. Pinterest just added shopping campaigns. So what you do when you click on ads here, you go to catalogs and you actually upload your catalog to Pinterest and you can run shopping campaigns, drive traffic to your products. So probably similar to Google Ads shopping campaigns. I haven't ran these through Pinterest yet, so it's something I want to learn and something I want to show you as well. But awareness campaigns, traffic campaigns, if you have an app, this is another thing we want to do a little bit later on this year is to show some more app campaigns. And then video awareness campaigns. That might be useful for Surfside PPC. You could use videos really to promote anything. So try to test all these different types of ads campaigns. Of course, we run traffic campaigns the most. We've ran a lot more campaigns for beachfront decor. Right now, I'm showing you for farmhousegoals.com. We have a lot more traffic campaigns that we've ran in beachfront decor. So we don't have a ton of things in farmhouse goals, but I'm going to use that for most of this tutorial here. So number two is going to be to use audience insights to find some different audiences that you can advertise to when you're running Pinterest ads. So what you want to do is click on analytics at the top here, go to audience insights. So right now it's this early access, so I think they're still expanding audience insights. We did a whole tutorial about this as well. But what you're able to see is if you come to audience insights, so we have for farmhouse goals right here. If you do all Pinterest users, it's just going to show you some different audience insights for everybody on Pinterest. So you really want to use your profile. And what it's going to show here is audience one, your total audience. So that's exactly what I want to use. You could also use your engaged audience, but we'll just use your total audience, the people that have seen our pins. And you can see some different categories and interests that people have shown an interest in basically that are connected to our pins. So if I click on home decor here, it's going to pull up a bunch of different home decor interests, the percentage of the category audience for each interest. So what I like to do is click on affinity here. And what you can see is some of the top things that are related to our pins. So one of them is kitchen faucet. So we have a lot of farmhouse sink pins. So farmhouse decor right here. So now I can use this farmhouse decor interest and use it for my campaign. And I know it's going to be relevant because that's all we have on our website is farmhouse decor. So on farmhousegoals.com. So what I can do is go into my campaign and target this specific audience here, farmhouse decor. Otherwise, maybe I'm trying to target people with farmhouse sinks, so who are looking for that, and I can target this type of interest, so kitchen faucet, and make sure I'm using that in my campaigns. So use audience insights to basically learn more about your audience and to find different interests that you can target in your advertising campaigns. So if you click on all these different options here, so maybe I click on architecture, I always like to click on affinity and see if I can find a top affinity for my audience. So none of these are that good for farmhouse goals, but under home decor, if I go to that affinity, I mean, farmhouse decor is absolutely perfect. So number three is going to be to use your website activity to find some different ideas for what to promote. So use your top pins, use the pins that people are clicking, that people are saving, the pins that are getting the most impressions. So what you want to do is come to analytics here, go to website, and when you open website, it's going to say activity from your website. So what we can do is if you click on impressions, you can see your top pins by impressions. So I like to look at link clicks and it's going to say your most clicked pins from the last 30 days. And then you can also see your boards with the most clicked pins. So what I like to see is which pins are getting the most clicks for the least amount of impressions. So farmhouse copper sinks is definitely very popular. So 45 link clicks with a little over 2,000 impressions. So that's the most that I'm getting on any of my pins. And it actually has less impressions than these other ones in the top. If you click on show more, you're going to continue to see more of your most clicked pins. So as you start expanding your profile, you can see what people are engaging with the most. So I know with beachfront decor, if I look at most clicked pins, it's generally has to do with beach signs, beach wall decor. So that helps me guide some of my decisions for what I want to promote. So using your website activity will give you a lot of ideas for what you can promote and what people are going to be the most interested in on Pinterest. So number four, and I've gone over this before, is to use this creative best practices guide that Pinterest gives you. So you can see the URL at the top here. We'll put it in the video description. So under the creative best practices, they have 5 essential tips for great pins. So basically how to create pins that people are going to engage with the most, that people are going to click with the most. So essentially it's going to help you create better advertisements. So their 5 essential tips are: pick an eye-catching image, so a 2:3 aspect ratio. Make your brand the focal point. So if you see here, they have glasses.co up here. So you can use your logo, and that's number 4 here. You can use your logo in your pins as well. So it definitely helps if you're running a lot of Pinterest advertisements to use your logo. So with beachfront decor, when we run pins as advertisements, we generally use our logo a lot in that. Give context, so your pin should help people understand why your product or idea is the right fit for them. So basically, give good descriptions on your pins, make sure your pins are very eye-catching, and then it says add text overlay. So if you look at any of the top pins for what you're advertising, generally they have text on them. So it might be something like the top 20 farmhouse decor ideas that you can use in your home, something like that. So different types of ideas for people so they actually click on your advertisement and engage with your website and hopefully buy your products or services. So number 4 is just make sure you're following the creative best practices guide. Pinterest is giving you all the ideas that you need to use so you can create great pins and really get the most out of your advertising campaigns. So number 5 might be a pretty simple one, but it's really just one of my best practices for every pay-per-click advertising channel, and it's to make sure you're setting up at least 3 ads per ad group. In this case, at least 3 promoted pins per ad group. So right now I opened up one of my campaigns that I ran in the past for nautical bedding, and you can see I uploaded 4 different pins here. We spent $90 for this campaign, and $80 of it about went into one pin, because you can see over here, if we scroll over a little bit, the click-through rate for this pin was 1.24% compared to a lot lower click-through rates for these other pins. So what Pinterest is going to be able to do is find the pins that people are engaging with the most and that people are saving the most and clicking on the most, and they're going to continue to run that pin for your campaign so you can get the most out of your campaign. Ultimately on Pinterest, your goal is to get more clicks on your pins, more saves on your pins. You can see we have a ton of engagements for a very low cost, a lot of impressions, and really a ton of clicks for this low amount of spend. So you definitely want to upload multiple pins in each ad group because it's going to help you get more out of each of your pins and more out of each of your ad groups. So number 6, another pay-per-click advertising best practices, is to make sure you install the Pinterest tag and set up conversions on your website. So if you click on ads here and you go to conversions, you're going to open this page here. It's going to say install the Pinterest tag. So we have our tag here. All you need to do is install the base code. So you take this tag, you put it between your head tags, and then you can install the event code. So the event code can allow you to track things like checkout, when people add things to cart, maybe someone just visits a specific page on your website. You're able to track everything like that by using the Pinterest tag, and you really want to make sure you're tracking conversions on your website. Now, if you're running a website on Shopify or something like that, they'll have guides for how to set up your Pinterest tag and how to create conversions for Pinterest, so make sure you check those out. But number 6 is make sure you set up conversions, install the Pinterest tag so you can optimize your campaigns for conversions. So number 7 is to use Pinterest rich pins. So it's going to say show the important details right on the pin. If you're not familiar with Pinterest rich pins, they give you a little bit more information about each of your Pinterest pins. So for example, they have product pins, so you can have prices here. They'll show the product title, and people can see the product image and just easily visit your website, go right to the product page, add it to the cart, and buy it very simply. They have recipe pins, so if you have recipes on your website, they can see part of the recipe. So it'll kind of encourage people to see what some of the ingredients are before they click through to your website. They have article pins, so you'll get a little bit more detail about an article, what people are going to see, and then app pins, so people can easily just install your app. And since a lot of people are using Pinterest on mobile devices, you absolutely want to use app pins on Pinterest so that people can continue to download your app more often and use your app, because that's really your ultimate goal when you're creating a mobile app. So make sure you're using rich pins. If you're not familiar with how to set them up, if you're running a WordPress website, you can use the Yoast SEO plugin. So they have rich pins for your website. So all you need to do is install Yoast on your website completely free, enable Open Graph, go to this URL right here, enter a page that contains rich pin data, validate it, and then all you need to do is choose HTML tags and click apply now. So very simple, your pins can be validated and you can apply to enable rich pins on your website. And then when you upload pins to Pinterest, it's going to automatically use rich pins for that pin. So very simple to set up. You want to make sure you're using them, and you can advertise rich pins as well. So it'll give you more and more out of your campaign by using rich pins because they're just a little bit more detailed than your standard pin. So number 8, another thing we've created a tutorial about is Pinterest audiences. So you can reach specific groups of people by creating your own audiences. So if you click on ads here and if you scroll down, you can see audiences right there. If you're familiar with remarketing audiences in Google and Facebook, it's the same thing with Pinterest. So if you go to create audience here, you can do visitors who went to your website, a list of customers that you upload, an engagement audience that engage with pins from your confirmed domain, and an act-alike audience that behaves similarly to one you already have. So you can see here we have an act-alike audience, an engagement audience, a website visitors for 30 days, and a website visitors for 500 days. It's going to match people on Pinterest so you can easily target them and use this right in your advertisements. And if you're familiar with remarketing, retargeting, when you're using pay-per-click advertising, you know that it's going to give you really more conversions out of your budget. So I highly recommend using audiences and creating some different audiences and testing them in your campaigns. So number 9 is going to be, it's a fairly new feature, but what you can use is carousel ads. So carousel ads have been used on Facebook before. And if you use, when you're creating a campaign, so you go to ads and create ad, and you set your campaign objective, name your campaign, set your spend limit. What you can do is make this ad a carousel. And if you click over here, it says show up to 5 scrollable images in one ad. All you need to do is click on this to enable it. And when you click on continue, you're going to be able to create carousel ads. If you're not familiar with how they look, so here's kind of an example of, this is a lot bigger than what it's going to look like, but you can upload up to 5 different images. So it's going to help you kind of show different products maybe on your website. You can show, let's say, for example, you're trying to sell a recipe book. What you can do is show 5 different recipes here, and then if people are interested in your recipes, they can click through to your website and hopefully buy that book. So it's just another way to give people more detail right in your advertisement before they click on it. So use carousel ads is going to be number 9. Okay, so number 10 is going to be to make sure you're using demographics in your targeting. So you can see some of these audiences that we created here when you start to set up your campaign. So you can use genders, ages, locations, languages, devices. So what I like to do is open Google Analytics, go to audience, demographics, and overview. So this is for farmhouse goals. So you can see the majority of the people that are visiting our website are between 25 and 64, and 75% are female. So when I'm setting up a campaign, I can use that information to make sure I'm picking the right ages, picking the right genders. You can also use location data. So if you come back to analytics here, you can go to geo and look at where people are located who are using your website and try to use all that data to really make sure you're reaching the right people at the right time and the people that are going to be more interested in your products. So use demographics in your targeting, and you can use your Google Analytics data to decide which demographics you want to target. Okay, so number 11. Now, this is something where people might have different opinions about it, but I highly recommend setting low bids when you first start with your campaign. So right here you can see under optimization and delivery, it's telling us to set a bid of $1.98. I generally set bids as low as possible. If you've watched any of our Pinterest advertising tutorials, you know I set bids really as low as I possibly can. So you might want to come here and start with a 50-cent bid or something like that. It's going to say low bid. Now, if you get down to something like 15 cents and it says too low, that means your ads might not actually run and you might not actually spend your entire budget. But what I like to do is set my bid as low as possible to where it just says low bid right here. So let's just say I do 30 cents. We'll look at what it says, still too low. So I'll just set it at 50 cents per now. So what I like to do is start my bids low and see how much my budget is actually spending, and then I'll increase my bids over time depending on how much my budget is spending. So I don't see a reason for creating a huge maximum CPC bid, because ultimately what I'm trying to do is get as many saves, as many clicks to my website for the lowest amount of cost. So number 11 is going to be to make sure you set low bids and increase them over time depending on how much your budget is spending. Number 12, and last but not least, is to make sure you're using other keyword research tools along with the Pinterest keyword tool. So, right here, when you're searching for related keywords, you can enter something like farmhouse decor or enter whatever your products and services are, and then it's going to pull up a bunch of different keywords here and show monthly searches. So, in addition to using this keyword tool right here, I also like to use the Google Keyword Planner. There's other keyword research tools you can use as well. If you're using Google Ads, all you need to do is come to Tools and come to Keyword Planner. And if I enter my website up here, so I entered farmhousegoals.com, farmhouse decor, farmhouse home decor, and if I scroll down, I can see what the top keywords are that people are actually searching for. So farmhouse bathroom decor, farmhouse signs. So what I like to do is look at the keywords that are the most relevant, that are getting the most searches, and I'll try to use that with my Pinterest advertising as well, because people who are looking for farmhouse wall decor, for example, are also going to be looking for it on Pinterest, because Pinterest is perfect for people who are looking for inspiration, home decor ideas, and it should match what you see in Pinterest. Now, with Pinterest, it's showing monthly searches 5 million plus, so that's a little bit too much to kind of see. It's really broad kind of ideas. So what you can do is add all these results and then take some of these keywords and look them up in the Google Keyword Planner and see how popular they are. And that'll help guide some of your Pinterest advertising keyword research. So I like to use the Google Keyword Planner along with the Pinterest keyword tool. And you can also target some of the keywords that you're using in your Google Ads campaigns and target them right in Pinterest and see what performs the best for you. So highly recommend using some of your keyword data from Google Ads, using the Google Keyword Planner along with the Pinterest keyword tool when you're creating campaigns, because it's going to help you really get the most out of your campaign, and you're going to be able to target the keywords that people type in the most often. I found that the what people type into Pinterest generally matches what people type into Google in terms of search volume. So I highly recommend using keyword research tools like the Google Keyword Planner along with the Pinterest keyword tool here, so you can find the best keywords for your business. So that's pretty much it with Pinterest advertising. Some of our top strategies that we use. Now, if you go to our playlist here and you look at our Pinterest advertising tutorial, we talk more about creating campaigns, setting different audiences to target. But what I highly recommend doing is using some of these strategies along with our advertising tutorial, along with watching our audiences tutorial, and really finding the best results to get out of your campaign. So if you have any questions, leave them in the comments section. Thanks for watching our video today, and make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel.